Coronation Street has unveiled who will uncover Abi and Carl Webster's secret romance as the plot prepares for a shocking twist. The duo have been secretly involved for several weeks after finally giving in to their emotions, although Carl complicated matters by sleeping with James Bailey while Abi was away on vacation. While her spouse and Carl's stepbrother, Kevin, remained oblivious to her disloyalty, Tracy Barlow already learned the truth some time ago, but agreed to keep quiet in exchange for cash. In upcoming episodes, the story takes a major shift when Abi decides to end her marriage to Kevin, though she avoids confessing the entire story. Nevertheless, Kevin begins to suspect that she is seeing Carl but lacks evidence. During an honest chat with Tyrone, who is still recovering after being struck by Carl's speeding car, Kevin grieves over his collapsing relationship. Tyrone, on the other hand, is furious that the authorities remain no closer to resolving his incident. Abi continues seeing Carl in the privacy of a hotel, confessing that she wishes to leave Weatherfield behind so she can live without restrictions. Carl, however, dismisses the idea in a lighthearted way. Soon after, the pair are stunned when Carl's half-sister Debbie unexpectedly shows up and catches them together. Will they manage to cover it up, or will the truth finally spill out in Weatherfield? With Debbie stumbling upon their affair, actress Sue Devaney recently hinted at how her character will handle the revelation, remarking, "It's not just being unfaithful with someone from the neighborhood, it's an affair with her brother. That's massive." She's bound to shout and argue. Debbie won't let that slide easily, not with her fiery nature, added the star, who is set to exit the ITV series in 2027. Corey audience catch on to Becky and Costello's connection, as they seem to be covering something up. Viewers of the ITV drama have long been suspicious of Costello due to his questionable actions in recent weeks toward Lisa Swain. Coronation Street fans now believe they've uncovered a hidden history between Becky Swain and D.I. Costello, as it appears the pair are keeping something secret. Audience suspicions have grown because of Costello's shady behavior over the past weeks, particularly in relation to Lisa Swain and her emotionally painful past. Recently, Lisa was compelled to confront her emotions about losing her late wife, Becky, and the circumstances of her death by attending therapy sessions under her boss's guidance. However, viewers' attention has increasingly focused on Costello, especially his determination to withhold the truth about Becky's disappearance from Lisa, as well as from her colleague, DC Kit Green, who has also been investigating the case. Tensions escalated further when, at the end of last week, Lisa and her new fiancé came face-to-face with who they believed was Tia Wardley, months after Carla had been given that name as a clue by Logan Radcliffe during her inquiry into Becky's fate. Now, Lisa is more desperate than ever for clarity, after Becky made a shocking return to Weatherfield last week, almost 4 years after Lisa believed she had died in the line of duty. Corey fans witnessed the detective sergeant's astonishment during Monday's episode when her supposedly deceased wife, Becky, was revealed to be very much alive. Viewers then had to wait until Friday to see the fallout after Becky appeared in the living room of number 6, despite her family having mourned her as dead for 4 years, including on their daughter Betsy's 18th birthday. As fans saw, Lisa struggled to accept Becky's presence and found it difficult to comprehend that Becky had allowed her and Betsy to grieve for so long, knowing her death had been faked. Becky explained that she had spent the past 4 years in Spain under a different identity after being placed in witness protection following a failed undercover mission. Yet Lisa was unconvinced by Becky's account, and during Monday's episode confronted Costello about his part in her disappearance. When Costello insisted it wasn't the right moment to discuss it, Lisa locked them both in his office and issued an ultimatum. She outlined the emotional toll Becky's fake death had on her and Betsy and demanded a full explanation of the witness protection plan. Despite Costello's reluctance to change his stance, Lisa made it clear she was serious, threatening to go public with the story if necessary. She was left both confused and heartbroken when he ultimately confirmed Becky's version of events. Fans of Corey identify who brings Carl Webster to his knees and confess they wouldn't like to be in his shoes. The darker aspects of the character are becoming more apparent as his involvement in Tyrone Dobbs' accident comes to light. Coronation Street fans believe they've worked out who will take down Carl Webster after his latest shocking wrongdoing was revealed. Carl made his first on-screen appearance in Weatherfield back in April, having previously only been mentioned by name on the ITV soap, following a minor collision in Freshco's car park with Abi Webster, who was unaware he was her brother-in-law. He quickly became intrigued by Abi, despite her initial anger, and even punched him in the face. Carl asked Abi out for a drink, but she declined, reminding him that she was married and that her husband was undergoing cancer treatment. There was clearly chemistry between them, but they went their separate ways. Later, Abi was surprised when Carl turned up at the bistro, where Kevin and Debbie were delighted to see their younger brother. As viewers now know, Carl has since been secretly involved with Abi behind Kevin's back, and was also seen having a fling with James Bailey during her absence. However, his romantic entanglements aren't the only concern. Carl has been involved in illegal activities as well. Followers of the show know he began running dodgy mots through the garage owned by his brother and Tyrone Dobbs. He later drew in teenagers Brody Michaelis and Dylan Wilson to assist with car thefts as part of his latest scam, all while maintaining connections with criminal boss Fiona. Things took a dark turn when Tyrone ended up in hospital after being hit by a stolen car in the precinct last week, narrowly missing Betsy Swain, who was celebrating her 18th birthday. During Monday's episode, Tyrone panicked when he realized he couldn't feel his legs. The doctor later cautioned that it was too soon to know whether he would regain sensation, leaving Tyrone anxious about his future and that of his family. Meanwhile, the search for the driver who left Tyrone injured continued. Dylan was taken into custody after George Shuttleworth reported seeing a teen driving a car matching the one involved in the crash. Dylan insisted he was innocent and swore he could prove it. Records confirmed that he had been at the hospital with Brody at the time of the accident, as Brody had suffered a seizure. Once released, Carl called Dylan and Brody in for a warning about working for him in the future. It was later revealed, however, that Carl himself had been the one driving the hit-and-run car. A chilling flashback showed Carl setting fire to the vehicle that struck Tyrone shortly after visiting him in hospital and expressing concern over Tyrone's mobility. Fans are now calling for Carl to face justice for his crime, but many think he should also fear Tyrone's grandmother, Evelyn Plummer. Coronation Street airs on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m. on ITV1, and episodes are also available on ITVX and YouTube.